Hey guys, welcome to Glitz and Glitter. I had a request the other day and I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to do that one, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. So like 1 year ago, we completed my craft room, which is behind this door. And the girl asked if I can give an update on my craft room. And I'm like, well, it's definitely not as clean as it was the day that I took the original video. So the original video is posted in my channel if you want to see that one. I'll give you a little tour of how it is today, and I will also give you a tour of my other room that ended up getting taken over since eBay took over. So this is the door. Let me flip my camera around. So my one dog likes to sit between the two rooms. This is Panda. You've probably seen him in many videos. So I have a little bed out here because I go from this room to this room all the time. So he just sits in the middle. He also has a bed in my craft room. So this is the door that I use my Cricut. And when the door is closed, people are supposed to listen to that. But as you have seen in my videos, they just open it anyway. But it says, do not disturb the crafter. Thank you. It's got a little microphone because I'm recording. But nobody listens to that. My dogs don't even listen to it because they open the door themselves and they come in. So don't be alarmed because it is definitely not as clean as it was the original day that I videotaped our room. So I still have my little island, although it is covered because this is where we do our river boards, like the cutting boards that Don does, and they take a lot of time to cure. So we have our leveling table on here because this wasn't always level because we never expected to be using that for this. And in there, I have a little vacuum cleaner that has tons and tons of glitter in the bottom of that. So I'm always vacuuming up spilled glitter. So we'll start on the boring side. And this is my office. Like I have to share, this used to be my office prior to Resin. So now my office got stuck on one side of the room. For my real job, we own another company doing home inspections, so all of our office stuff is over here, but this is where I edit. I edit all my videos on this computer, and here are some of my little mascots that you have seen me make. So I have 2 turtles and 2 dogs with me. I had my seal there too, but the seal decided to go home to another family. So this is like our charging station for all of the electronics that we use for work. And then over here we have 2 printers. This is the one that I use for my tumblers. I use it for the vinyl. It's got tons and tons of color ink. It does gorgeous pictures. If you ever need to know which printer that I'm using for my tumblers, if you go in a Tumblr video, that is the printer that is linked. That's there. And then we move along to the Cricut. So that's where I cut out my images for whatever I'm using for my decals and stuff. And then I have my curing machine. I have both of my bubble removers, which one of them is not working. So they did replace it. I do have that in the cabinet. And then right here, I am curing coaster molds. So I have 4 going here and I have 4 going in the other room. That way, when you order my molds, they are ready to go and I'm not always having to make them on demand. So I try to keep up with that. This is a very messy corner, as you can see. So I have like upcoming videos over here, like all the things I have ready to go on deck for the next video, or 2 or 3 or sometimes 4. So that's what all that stuff is that I have not gotten to. Right here is my scale in which I do all the silicone measuring because it's 1-to-1 by weight. So I have like all my silicones, all 3 different kinds. I have my black resins, my fast cure. This is the pump resin, although I don't have the pumps on it right now. And then my paper towels that I got used to sitting there. This little thing in the corner is all my Cricut extras. So anytime I cut, I have extra little pieces. And I'm just going to use them when I need something smaller than normal. And then, like, this is my extra station. So if I'm already doing one video over here, and I'm ready to start the next one, then I will move my camera over to this station and I will do a video over here. But this is my normal station. As you can see, you have always seen this dirty, messy silicone pad. So it's time to get a new silicone mat. Not that it matters, but it is what it is. Then I have all my alcohols and acetones and UV resins right at a moment's notice. My torches, my dotting tools, all my brushes, my spoons, my knives, sanding blocks, and then my heat mat is here. I do have another heat mat on the way from Let's Resin. That's going to go right there. And then I have all like the little tools taking up all this space. So all my stirring sticks and rulers and glues and brushes, and this is all my stuff that I make the jewelry for. So I have this sitting here, so when I have the little extras, I can throw a clasp on and get it out to the next order. And I just leave all this stuff out because I use it on a daily basis. Otherwise, it would be put away. So this actually is a 4-inch paper punch that Karen decided to send to me when she saw my video asking for a link, and she said, I have one. If you want it, I will mail it to you. So that was awesome of her. I already tried it. It works wonderful. So no more like cutting. And I know I can use the Cricut, but this is actually so much faster and easier than using my Cricut to do that. Then I have my favorite UV light by Let's Resin, which is the double light that sits here because I do rings over here. So anytime I'm doing my rings, I have my light and I just go on each side of the ring so it'll cure a whole lot faster. I've got a soapy mix here to wash down my countertops. This is my power wash that I also use to not only wash the countertops, but I use that for an effect on my resin for a wave effect you've seen on a prior video. This is my hand mold that has been sitting here for a while. This is where extras go as well. So when that gets mixed or filled up, I do give that one away. And then down at this station, I have another seat, more resin on the floor. I have my tumbler curing machine down there below because I ran out of space in my cabinets. And this is where I do my tumblers. Today, I have none going, but I'm getting ready to start 3 of them. And then over here is just like a big mess. So I use these papers underneath so you can see what I'm actually doing. Gloves for me, gloves for Dawn. This is my mixing machine from Let's Resin. And over here are like all my extra molds. So when I have extra resin, I'll come over here and just grab one of these molds. And that way I can make the extras. And then I have my little tumbler cradles over here, the handmade one and the one I bought. These are scrapers and more gloves and sandpaper and then little pipettes and things like that. I've got my heat gun over here. This is one of them. I have another one over there. And then all the glitter that you see along this wall and the other wall, these are all my glitters prior to me selling glitter. So these are not the colors that I have for sale. And here's my other, I have a smaller heat gun that I use closer to the mat. And then back here I do store the tassels that I use for bookmarks and things like that. So like I said, all these glitters are the ones that I purchased prior to. And then I have all my other little things that I add in, shells and sprinkles, my washi tapes. Here's my necklaces for my pendants. This cup is here to put the piping bag in here. Stir sticks for my silicone. I keep separated from my stir sticks for my resin so they don't get intertwined. I have a whole bunch of washi tapes over here for my tumblers. And then I'm using my windowsill. So I have cups here I use to measure out silicone in small quantities for inlays and things. And then right here are my transfer tapes. I have one of my UV lights over here. Actually, I have a couple of them over here. So when I'm working over here, I also have UV lights. This big, huge spatula I use to transfer over coasters and things when I want to put them in my curing machine. And if I have to go from over there to over here, I transfer them with my spatula. And then I have another UV light over here. Now on this side of the room are all the other things that I put. I showed you these in a video last week. These are all like the rocks and stones and mirror pieces and sands and abalone shells and fake cherries and fake ice cubes and everything. They go behind my computer all the way down there. So that's what these shelves are. Now in here, Don's got all his woodworking, not all, he's got some of the woodworking tools that we actually use in this room. So he stores them in this cabinet here. And this cabinet is filled with a whole bunch of molds. A lot of them are the ones I have made and demoed already. Some of these are ones I have not used. These are extra molds that I made for the coasters that weren't good enough to sell, so I kept them for myself just to use. So this cabinet is full of extra jars and things like that. Now this cabinet here is full of all my UV resin. Everything UV resin is in here, all the colored UV resins, all my findings for jewelry, all my jewelry molds, so they're all in one space. This cabinet here is extra molds for extra resin, along with extra sands and shells and pebbles and things like that. And up there is a bunch of other things like more sand, more rocks, some trees, sticks and things like that to stick in there. Now in this cabinet over my computer, this is where I keep all the glitters that I do sell. So these are all just samples. These are not the sizes that you get. These were the leftovers after I measured all yours out. This is what was left, so I bought a bunch of jars so I could just grab a jar when I'm using this kind of glitter in my video. That way I know what they're called and you will be able to see what they look like. So those are all the ones that are for sale on my eBay channel, eBay store, I'm sorry. That's the new machine that they just sent me because the one, my counter stopped working. That one is not working very well, so I did put it away for now. I did end up getting another one, but that one's about ready to die. I have used it so much. So that is in that cabinet. And then up above, you know, you've probably seen in other videos or some of the projects that I have had here for a while. Now, behind this door, we store all of our iron-on vinyls. So these will all go on shirts or purses or whatever we buy that we would use the Cricut to do iron on. But this one here, which is double-sided, has all my vinyls that I use on everything resin. So there's a double wall full of every color that I could possibly find, glittered and not glittered. So right here's my garbage cans, 2 of them I fill up weekly. These are all my little pieces here, lighters, paint pens, screwdrivers, things like that. My little cutter for my tumblers, you know, just little stuff. And over here are some pictures and decals and things that I use on my tumblers. So then we're gonna come to this, and it's still the same thing that it was before. It's all my chemicals. This one has my resins for my tumblers right above it, my tapes, my glues, gloves, Mod Podges, things like that. My liquid latex, cutting board oils, baby wipes, all kinds of stuff like that goes right above there. Then in this cabinet here, I have all my mixing cups. So that's mixing cups and like my water slide papers, my vinyls, toothpicks, but mostly mixing cups is what I do in there. This cabinet here, I'm trying to figure out how to change. I'm trying to figure out to put it somewhere else. But this is all my chameleon powders at the top. Those are all mica powders. Those are inks. Those are pigments. These are alcohol inks. My cast and craft, those are all acrylic paints, and these are all alcohol inks. But every time I reach in to get something, things fall over. So I'm trying to come up with a better plan for all of that little stuff. It's driving me crazy. So then in this cabinet next to it are my large jars of mica powders, my oil-based paints. These are like the ones that come in little kits. So they don't come in a jar, they just come in kits. And then my metallic mica powders here. And then tons and tons of my fabrics that I use on my tumblers go in there. Here is more mica powders. These are sectioned by color, so when I know what color I want, I can see them all at the same time. Those are some of my extra glitters that I had. That one is just normal personal stuff for work. Then we will come down here. So this, look at that, it's so full. They just go everywhere. These are all the coaster molds. So my entire top drawer is just coaster molds of all shapes and sizes, pieces that goes in molds. See, they don't even close. That's why I have to buy new ones. And then this one here are all my little jar molds. This one obviously fell into the wrong drawer. So these are all my trinket trays, my stingray. These are all like the pen holders, things like that. So this entire drawer is jam-packed. I guess I have 2 stingrays in here. And then the bottom drawer is usually, well, it's got turtles in there, but most of them are like the large tray molds. So that's where those go. Then I've got a drawer full of blingy stuff. So all my little rhinestones, pearls, all the pieces that I need for the rhinestones, the glues, the trays, the pencils, the pencil sharpener for the wax pencils. So that's like the jar, or the bling drawer. And in here I keep all my dried flowers, butterflies, little odds and ends, tattoos, things, you know, that I can stick into resin, little, you know, you've seen all this on the last video. I pulled all this stuff out for you. And then in the bottom I use my Cricut pads and then all the papers and the vinyls that I buy. So I have tons and tons of different papers that are waiting to be used in something, a whole bunch of, you know, different varieties of papers waiting to be used. So that's what's in there. I've got a drawer full of pieces, parts that comes in, like I buy a ton of silicone for these molds, and every time you buy a silicone kit, it comes with things. So I have massive amounts of the same thing. These are like little housings, but I don't make anything this small. So I have tons of housings for this stuff. I have the iron for the Cricut. I have my heat gun here, some extra scissors. This is for my tumblers to get a straight line. You know, it's just stuff. These are like my drying covers, caulk guns, and these are my turner supplies for the tumbler turner, all my little things, some string, silicone mats. And then in my corner, Lazy Susan, these are all things that are waiting to be done. So these are all things I have not done yet. Most of them I have not done yet. So 2 sections full of things on the to-do list. So that's what that is. And then I have another Lazy Susan on this side of the room with the same thing. Tons and tons. I have all this stuff that is ready to be molded, but I just have not time to make molds from them. And some vinyls, some woods, some napkins, you know, it's just stuff that needs to be done. I have so many projects. This was the bottom piece of one that was no good. And yeah, I think these are my molds and shapes molds because I know I'm going to be doing many of them. And guess what? I found this at the Dollar Tree. So it's going to let me make a bowl from my oval molds and shapes. So I'm so excited to do that. Let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, here's the closet. In here goes everything. All the demos that I have made are in here, unless you guys email me to buy them. I also have a ton of molds, tray molds. There's the mold that Don uses for his wood. Obviously, it's not being used yet. All of these are demos that have been done, coasters, and this container is like failures. Then I've got all of these. I've got wrapping paper to do back there. I've got pieces, parts that go into the items. And then the top shelf here, these are all pieces that I still need to pour. So I bought like cutting boards and things. I did do that 3-tier already and the popcorn bowl, but everything underneath that still has to be poured. I still have to pour that 3-level thing. These little drawers are full of pieces, parts, sandpapers, stickers, stirring sticks. Then I've got the parts that go to like clipboards and knobs for trays and things like that, glues, all kinds of stuff. So this, yeah, this is a pretty big mess in here, but I just closed the door and I don't think about it. So let's go into the other room. And here's Panda still sitting out here waiting for Mama to come out. So this is my other room. Like, I have no spare bedrooms to let guests stay in my house anymore because all of my rooms, and I have a large house, all my rooms are taken up. People feel sorry for Don because I've basically taken every single room in my house except the family room. That's his. So as you can see, I have 4 more poured. These are my crystal edged silicone molds for coasters. So I have 4 poured waiting to cure. All the stuff that I use to pour silicone, I pour it in here now because I have no room in the other room anymore. So that's the vinyls and the glue sticks and pieces parts. Then I have little baggies that I use to package up your stuff. This is a photo thing, booth. I don't know what you call it. You take photos in here. So I do keep the stands that I place things on. I have all different backgrounds. I rarely use it because the sunlight ends up being better. So that just kind of sits there. I do have a bakery. So I did have to move a lot of my bakery stuff out of this room because I did not want food products in with this kind of stuff. But I do have to store all my mixers down here. So that's bakery products. And oh my gosh, yeah, my house is crazy. So here are blanks, not only blanks, but these are freebies. So I have all these pendants going out to people. I have all these magnets going out with orders. These are bookmarks and crosses. Those are going out with orders. I have all my blanks of the things I mold from. So those are all blanks. I have glue sticks and tape. I have packaging supplies. Now underneath this table are all the packaging supplies. I have wrapping paper and tissue paper and packaging supplies. And this is where I package all of your shipments. So I've got all my shipping materials here. Envelopes, boxes, papers, you name it, I have it. Again, I have a bakery slicer that I can't get to right now, but that slices bread. This is my cake department for decorating cakes. Don't worry, there's no food products in there. This is my cake decorating stand with all the packaging on it. Again, I don't have another space for it, so it had to be in here. I've got tumblers up top, which I need to reorder. This is where I keep all of my silicones, waiting to make molds, all different kinds of silicones, glitters. These are all housings that I had somebody make for me on a 3D printer. So my neighbor's son was nice enough to let me give him measurements. These are all my spray paints for my tumblers, alcohols and resins. These are all just shipping supplies like crazy, glitters. And then this is all inlays that are ready to be shipped out. They are all sorted. I have all these inlays ready to go. I have molds ready to go, paperwork here, shipping supplies down there. And I think that's it, you guys. That is your updated version of how I'm working. I really need like a warehouse. So anyway, I have coaster molds ready to go. By the time you see this, I'm gonna have them stacked up. So get on my eBay store and get them mailed out to you. All right, you guys, hope you enjoyed your updated version of Michelle's Glitz and Glitter. See you tomorrow. Bye.